Hello, this is Happy from Pro Plugins. This video is about the Pool Browser plugin, which is also called Subpool Manager. It generates views that lets you navigate all your pools and manage all your data in subpools and keep it organized. Here I got a show file, which I used the plugin to generate two views. We got this program pools and miscellaneous pools. And we are in the program pools now. The view contains three parts. There's the pool selection on the bottom and subpool selection. There's an info panel on the left, and in the middle there's the pool window, which we can refer to as the subpool window because it shows only one subpool. Subpool is a range of objects, so now we're seeing subpool number 1, which is objects 1 through 20. It has a name, and you can click here to select different subpools, and all it does is it scrolls the window to the appropriate start index of the subpool. You can choose different pools and then you see all their subpools. Let's look at the miscellaneous pools. It's the same thing, just different pools appear here. There's the macros, plugins. Maybe you want to organize your views, your layouts. And now notice something nice here, that there is, when you install the plugin, there's always a subpool dedicated for the plugin itself, because the pool browser does generate macros, it generates layouts, these 4 layouts, it generates appearances. Yeah, a lot of appearances. So you can see what the plugin generated. By the way, all Pro plugins can communicate with the pool browser, and when you install another plugin, for example the MIDI encoders plugin, then it will create a subpool here for the generated macros, and you will see here MIDI encoders. So the pool browser is actually a central place to manage all the objects in your show file, including what other plugins generated. Okay, now the plugin does more than just scroll the pool window to the appropriate index of the subpool. It's also a subpool manager, and it gives you tools to manage these subpools. For example, let's split this subpool, because here starts the position presets. So let's split it at, split at index 7. Okay, now we got 2 subpools, and let's continue splitting this subpool at index 15, where the color presets start. Okay, now we can give them meaningful names: dimmer, position, and color. Okay, now that we split the subpool, we need more room, because we want more room for dimmer presets, and here it's very close to the position presets. So we can just hit plus, because we want to make this bigger, and it says, oh, it collides with the position subpool here, and do you want to move it to a different range? Okay, so it moved it, and now we have more room. We can make the subpool bigger. Same with the position presets. It is very close to the color ones, and want to make some room for more position presets. So okay, move me to some other range and I can make more room. So you can take a messy show file basically, and within minutes just organize it all in subpools very easily. Okay, we have here the views pool, and the first subpool here is a bit messy, so let's use the plugin to make some order, condense, remove gaps. Nice, let's undo that. You can also sort by name and also sort by appearance, and if you don't like all these views, you can just delete them. And of course it deletes all the objects in the subpool, it doesn't touch the other subpools. Another feature is the auto store here. It stores to the currently selected subpool at the next available index. So here we're storing, and we skip those, and it found the next available index. When you change a subpool, it will store to this subpool. And let's see, sequences. Okay, so if you have multiple screens, maybe you can have one screen with your programmer presets and another one with the pool browser, and you can program some scene, some cue, and use the auto store to easily store your sequences in the right place and keep your show file organized. Okay, now let's go over the user interface of the plugin. The info panel we quite covered. These are actually buttons. You can use it to rename the pool or rename the subpool. This is to edit the range of the subpool. The plus and minus are obvious. This opens the dialog with the actions that we saw, and the auto store we know. And here we got the selection layout, and on the right side we got this panel which you can collapse if you need more room, or expand if you don't. You can use the plus button to add a pool. Let's add the timecode pool, and you can use it to add subpools here. As you can see, the subpools by default are of size 100. If you want to change that, you go here to open the plugins menu, and there's plugin options. So let's change to 50. Okay, so now when you add subpools, they will be of size 50. Okay, you can use the minus button to remove pools or remove subpools. Now it's important to understand that if you remove a subpool, you're not deleting its object. You're just removing the definition of the range within the plugin. And if you are deleting a pool, of course, you're not deleting the actual pool. It's just a user interface element here. And you can use these arrows to move pools left and right. Okay, reorganize them. Okay, let's take this one, move it to the right. They switch places, and that's it. Another small thing to understand is that this selection layout here has these macros, these selection macros, and when you make a selection, apart from changing the pool that you are seeing or changing the subpool that you're seeing, it also stores to the current view. We are now in the programmer's pools. So and this allows you also to, if you're working on sequences and then you go to another view and back, then you're still on sequences. If you're working on groups now, building groups, then you can change to another view, come back, and you are still in the groups because the view was saved. Okay, now one last thing I need to explain is about instances. So the plugin creates instances of pool browser. So each view is an instance. So we have this view, the programmer pools, and the miscellaneous pools. These are two instances that I generated. I can create another one. It suggests screen number 1 and view button number 7, which is available. So let's create it, and it gives you two options right now for default pools you want to show. So let's choose the miscellaneous, and now if you want to show different pools, just delete these ones, and you can show whatever subset of pools you want in this view. Okay, so you will still have your miscellaneous pools. You can rename this to other, and then you get just another view. So these views are just different pools that you want to show. Of course, that this definitions of the subpools, the ranges are 1. So they are common to all the instances of the pool browser. Okay, another thing we didn't talk about is this empty space over here. Now, when the plugin options auto fit to screen is enabled, then the plugin manages this view. It manages the size of this pool window. So if you now make a selection, it brings the size back to width of 10. If you delete this window and you make a selection, this window will come back. If you make this window smaller and you make a selection, it will auto fit to screen. So this empty space, actually you can add any window you want here and it will stay. Okay, it will also be stored in the view, and it doesn't interfere with anything, but don't try to resize anything. If you do want to build your own view with the pool window and the selection here, so you need to disable the auto fit to screen, and then you can maybe delete this one, move it around, make this bigger, and your selections will not rebuild the screen. Here is an example. I've built here a pool browser instance where you have these selections here only with preset pools, and there's subpools, and I got my groups pool, a fixture sheet, and the selection grid. So this can be done. And now we can install the plugin again. So we choose install, and we choose to create pool browser, and we are offered screen number 1 and view button ID number 5, which is available. Okay, and we choose one of the default, and ta-da-da, here we have a brand new pool browser. All the subpool configuration was deleted because we uninstalled, so this is new subpools, and if you can see, it created a few subpools already. So the plugin works, so when it's installed, it looks in blocks of 100, and for every block that it finds that it's non-empty, it creates a subpool for it. That's why we got these. So the idea is that all the objects in your pools are within subpools. There are no objects left around which are not in some subpool. This helps you make the show file organized, and you know where your objects are, and you know, if you see all your subpools, you know that there are no other objects laying around in the show file. You don't know where they are. Okay, keep your show file organized. Use the pool browser. Thank you.